I just got through talking about Nate Diaz fighting in Bellator. Speaking of Bellator, the rematch between Patricio Pitbull and AJ McKee is going to go down not far from now. I think it's in April or May. This fight is a fight that I made a prediction on the first fight last year, and I actually picked Patricio. Uh, I have this thing for guys that run their mouths a lot and make things personal. I usually pick against them because I take it that they're taking the other guy lightly by saying all this stuff. Clearly, he didn't take Patricio lightly at all. He came in there with a great game plan. He rocked him, he hurt him, he made him, he put him in a guillotine or whatever it was, and he won the fight. Here's the only downside, and I've talked about it with Adesanya and Whitaker. It's hard to top that kind of perfect performance again when you fight the same guy, especially when there's bad blood or if it's a little personal like this fight's going to be. You know, he's already talking about beating up his brother and doing all this other stuff now that he's not the champ of the lightweight division no more. So he has a lot to lose in this fight, you know. But putting all that to the side, I'm going to start to look at more as far as the fighting style and what they both bring, body types. Because AJ McKee is actually taller, longer arms than in comparison with Patricio Pitbull. Obviously, Patricio is the more experienced and aggressive fighter, which can be good and against him. Good because he finishes guys most of the time, and he's only lost 5 fights, including a loss to McKee. The bad part is when you're overly aggressive, you fight with emotion, you know, and that I feel like that costed him in the first fight, you know. He got too aggressive, he got caught in a submission, he lost the title, he lost the Grand Prix fight. So while I don't think that's going to be as big of a deal in the rematch, I think Patricio will fight smarter. He's going to put the emotion to the side better than he did in the first fight. I think he's learned from that. But again, McKee has longer arms. He's going to be able to, he needs to approach this fight a little differently. He needs to use his reach better. I think he needs to stick him and move, jab him like I talked about with Jones fighting other guys that are bigger than him but don't have the reach. He needs to mix up his wrestling. He's such an overall talented fighter. I think he can give a run at Alexander Volkanovski if not beat him. I'll make another video about that later. But I just think that the fact that he's already beaten him convincingly the first time perfectly, it's very hard to do it again. But I do think he has the better skill set. I think he's going to fight with a lot less emotion. He's going to fight a better fight in terms of sticking to the game plan. Like I said, he needs to stick him and move. Try not to get too close because Patricio's dangerous. If he does get close, clinch him and take him down. Secure a few takedowns. This fight's going to be a lot longer. I think this fight will go to distance. I don't think Patricio's going to be able to finish off McKee because McKee's going to be smart in this fight. He's going to be calculated. He's going to be really good on the feet. I think Patricio will have his moments. He might drop him a time or two in this fight. He might do that. He might cut him open. He might get a big punch in or something, but he's not going to outstrike McKee on the feet simply because McKee is smarter. Not really smarter, but I think he's just going to fight smarter. Doesn't make him smarter. But I just think it's McKee's time, man. He's a young guy. He's my age. He's 26, and he's already a world champion in MMA. Isn't that crazy? So I think he wins this fight by unanimous decision. 49-46, 48-47. I don't think it'll be one-sided like Masvidal Covington, or however you say his name. Colby Covington. I don't think it'll be one-sided like Masvidal and Covington was. But it's going to be clear that McKee is not just really the better fighter so much, but he's going to fight differently. His style works in favor of him. Because the short arms and being shorter, like Patricio, doesn't really work well for him against a guy like McKee. And McKee's not going to be emotional in this fight. He's going to run his mouth and rally up Patricio again, which I don't think will work this time just because he knows it worked against him the first time. But I just think his skill set's going to be better. I think he gets the better of the stand-up exchanges. I think he'll mix in his good wrestling and takedowns and do enough to win the fight. It should be an amazing fight. I think it'll be very competitive. It would be pretty close. Not a one-sided fight by any means. Patricio's a monster. But, again, the reason why I say it's going to be more competitive is the fact that he did it one time perfectly. It's hard to do it again. Adesanya did not have a dominant performance with Whitaker. He won the fight, clearly, but it was a lot more competitive. And even he told him after the fight, I'll see you again, man. He's probably going to see him again. And again, where it didn't work was Cormier beat Miocic in the first fight years ago. Perfect fight, right? He fought him again, he got beat. So anything's possible. But I have faith in McKee. And I'm pulling for him because he's American. Of course I'm pulling for him. I'm an American, right? And he's my age, so he's representing my generation. AJ McKee by unanimous decision over Patrício Pitbull.